Let's talk a little bit about Genpact first and where it's headed. I don't think a lot of people know that Genpact came out of GE.
Right.
Tell me how Genpact is sort of looking towards the future.
So we are a professional services company that helps and partners with large enterprises, the global thousands, and helps them undertake a significant digital transformation journey, which means change the way you run your business using new technologies, analytics, data, and so on. We came out of GE, going back to 2005, which is when we spun off. We used to serve GE within GE. We took that out. We continue to serve GE, still our largest customer. We listed on the New York Stock Exchange in 2007. We're now a public company. We serve 800 clients. And what we do for them is run processes, and then we also change and design and transform processes using new technologies.
Digital transformation, I think that's top of mind for every company out there. What do companies do where they end up doing it right, and what do companies do where they end up doing it wrong?
Anyone who approaches this as boil the ocean ends up not making enough progress. So our recommendation often is, can we start with what are the biggest challenges you have? What are the biggest opportunities you're chasing? What's the biggest value that can get created? So that's one, which is start from outcomes backwards. Don't start from technologies and start searching for, I'm the hammer, where's the nail? So start from the outcome. And the second is pick and choose a few to begin with, not too many, and find a way to get to the answer and drive value fast. Because in the end, like any change and transformation, it's managing that change through the company. And sometimes it's scary. If I'm a risk leader in a bank, is the machine going to replace me? That's scary. So am I going to be the first person, planting the flag saying, come and take away my job? No. I have to be convinced that actually it's going to help me do my job.
Talk to me about how the partnership then with Virgin Envision Racing, like how does that tie into what you do at Genpact?
So about half the business that we have serves large industrial companies, obviously, going back to the GE days. And as a result, we actually work with companies that make big equipment, place those equipment out in the field. Think about power plants, aircrafts, engines, ships, Caterpillar, tractors, and so on and so forth. And those machines stream data, sensors, IoT, all of that. And then there is surrounding data, there's human data. Envision Virgin Racing, or Formula E, is all about how do we race a vehicle with a battery in order to utilize the battery to the fullest extent and come first. But I have to be careful. If I overuse the battery, I might not finish the race.
Right.
So it's data, it's analytics, it's AI, it's machine learning, it's software. And it's taking all of that, both from the environment, the driver, the competitive drivers, the battery, etc. But it's also about climate change. The longer term vision of something like Formula E is how do you change mobility? How do you make electric cars really viable? How do you get batteries to be 3 times more capacity than it is today, to heat up less? All of those technology breakthroughs come from things like Formula E.
One of the technologies people talk about constantly now is AI,
Yep.
right? What is your view on AI and how's it going to transform our businesses?
So I'm glad you asked the question on AI and not its full form, which is artificial intelligence. Because our view is that AI is augmented intelligence. It's not artificial intelligence. And the reason we say that is because we believe human and machine together is the way we think about value creation, is the way we think about the world is going to go. The best example I found, one of our board members is someone who runs cognitive potential at the University of Toronto, Tyagarajan, and he described this as, in the days when computers were not there, you would hire an accountant by testing for the ability to do math. Can you add, subtract, multiply, divide? Today, you never test for math when you're hiring an accountant, because the accountant is going to use the same Excel spreadsheet and the same computer. We test for accounting skills. We test for accounting thinking, financial engineering, and communication of that. That's more important. Similarly, more and more, expertise is going to be tested based on judgment, based on empathy, based on creativity. Prediction, everyone's going to get it. It's going to be part of us.
I'm curious what kind of leadership principles you have sort of borrowed or transferred over from GE to Genpact, how you lead your people at the company.
So we picked 4 words 4 years back to describe values that we expect people to subscribe to and behave. And we call it CI squared. So it's CCII. So curiosity, courage, incisiveness on a bedrock of integrity. So let's start with curiosity. We truly believe that the world is one where everyday things are changing. So you have to be curious. It doesn't matter who you are, I have to be curious. I have to wake up in the morning and say, what am I going to learn today? And curiosity gets driven by 3 or 4 qualities that I need to exhibit. 1, I have to ask a lot of questions. I can't be the person giving all the answers.
Yeah.
I cannot say I have the answers because I don't. So questions. 2nd, I have to listen a lot. Once I ask questions, I have to shut up and listen. And the 3rd is I have to be humble. I have to say that I don't know many things and therefore I have to include people. Inclusion. And when I include people, they better be diverse because cognitive diversity becomes very important to drive that creativity. So curiosity is at the heart. And courage. You got to experiment. Digital is about experimentation, new technologies, and it's okay to fail as long as you learn. And by the way, if your colleague has failed, then go learn from that colleague, which means the colleague has to share failures. Again, humbleness. So it all connects up. And then incisiveness. We are big believers in specificity. So when I gave the AI example, you actually have to understand what is the outcome you want,
right,
and then work backwards. So we are big believers in specificity. On a bedrock of integrity, that's a given. Those are things, those are not the exact words we learned and I learned when I grew up in the world of GE. This dates back to the late 90s, when Jack was running the company. But I learned a bunch of things which are kind of similar. He talked about edge, energy, and execution. At the core of edge, it's saying, I don't know. It's saying, bold. It's being, courageous. Energy. You have to have passion. You have to love what you do and do what you love. So that's a culture that we drive.